There is a child within you who never grew up. She is frozen at the exact moment the world became too dangerous to trust. And while you strive to be an adult, to be strong, to overcome your problems, this wounded child secretly controls every choice you make. She sabotages your relationships the moment you feel safe. She makes you choose people who confirm you don't deserve love. She whispers that you need to be perfect to be accepted, or that you need to be invisible to be safe. Have you ever noticed how you repeat the same patterns? How you always get hurt in the same ways? How you attract the same toxic dynamics? This isn't bad luck. It's your inner child trying to protect you with the only strategies she knows. Strategies that worked when you were 5, 7, 10 years old, but that now destroy your adult life. Carl Jung revealed that our psyche holds all unintegrated wounds. He called them autonomous complexes, parts of the personality that operate independently of our consciousness. And the wounded child is the most powerful complex of all, because she carries our most basic need for emotional survival. But here's the truth that will change everything for you. Most people try to heal the inner child the wrong way. They try to console her, coddle her, give her what she never had. But this child doesn't need more care. She needs to be seen, understood, and most importantly, she needs to trust that you, the conscious adult, can protect her in a way she never was protected before. What Jung discovered about childhood complexes will reveal why you remain stuck in the same cycle of pain, and how to break this pattern once and for all. For how many years will you continue choosing people who abandon you? How many times will you sabotage opportunities when they become too real? How long will you accept crumbs of affection because your inner child still believes she doesn't deserve more than that? Look at your romantic relationships. Do you notice the pattern? Either you choose emotionally unavailable people, repeating the dynamic of trying to win over someone who will never give you the love you need. Or you flee the moment someone tries to get truly close, because your wounded child cannot distinguish between intimacy and danger. Look at your career, your projects, your dreams. How many times have you almost gotten there and given up? How many times have you sabotaged yourself when success was within reach? Your inner child learned that getting attention is dangerous, that shining brings punishment, that being seen means being rejected. Observe your deepest fears. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. These are not your fears. They are the terrors of a child who one day was too small to understand why she felt so alone, so invisible, so inadequate. And this child is still within you, driving your life with the emotional map she created to survive in a world that didn't protect her. Do you recognize that pain that pulses in your chest when someone ignores you? It's because your inner child returned to that moment when you needed attention and didn't receive it. Do you recognize that anger that explodes when you feel controlled? It's because your wounded child still fights for the freedom she never had. You have been programmed by this pattern of pain, and today you will understand how it works and how to transform it into strength. The wounded inner child is not a metaphor. It is a concrete psychological reality. When emotional pain becomes unbearable for a child, the psyche fragments to protect the core self. The wounded part becomes frozen in time, preserving not only the pain, but also all the innocence, creativity, and capacity to love that existed at that moment. Jung discovered that these fragments of the psyche, which he called complexes, function as autonomous personalities within us. They have their own logic, their own emotions, their own survival strategies, and the wounded child complex is the oldest, most primitive, and most powerful, because it formed when our brain was still developing. Imagine a library where all the trauma books are frozen in a specific section. Every time something in the present remotely reminds you of that original pain, you are automatically transported to that section. You are not reacting to the present. You are reacting to the past through the eyes of a child who still believes she is in danger. The wounded child operates through what Jung called projection. She projects onto the adult world the same dangers she learned to fear in childhood. If you learned that love means pain, your inner child will identify anyone who loves you as a potential threat. If you learned that success brings punishment, she will sabotage any achievement before the punishment arrives. This is the mechanism of emotional freezing. Your inner child stopped growing emotionally at the moment of the original wound, and now she controls your adult life, with the limited wisdom she had at that time. She doesn't know that you've grown up, that you have resources, that you can protect yourself. For her, the world is still that dangerous place where she needed to be invisible, perfect, or rebellious to survive. The first reason you can't overcome the trauma of your inner child is that you try to heal her without first recognizing that she exists as a real and active part of your personality. You treat the symptoms without looking at the root. You change behaviors without transforming the deep-seated beliefs that generate these behaviors. Your wounded child doesn't want rational explanations about why she should trust. She wants emotional evidence that you, the conscious adult, are different from the people who hurt her. And that evidence only comes through the direct experience of emotional safety. The second reason is that you confuse healing with the elimination of pain. You want the wounded child to simply disappear, stop bothering you, stop sabotaging your plans. But she is not a problem to be solved. She is a part of you that needs to be integrated. Jung taught that what we resist persists and what we accept transforms. The wounded child carries not only the pain, but also all the gifts that were repressed along with her. Her spontaneity, her capacity for wonder, her pure intuition, her courage to feel deeply. When you reject her, you also reject this golden part of your nature. The third reason is that you expect other people to heal your inner child. You seek from a romantic partner, a therapist, friends, the validation and care your child never received. But no one can fill a hole that was dug in childhood. Other people can love you, but they cannot enter your story and change it. Only you can do the inner work of reparenting yourself. The fourth reason is that you're afraid of what you'll find when you truly look at this child. You fear that connecting with her means becoming too vulnerable, too emotional, too childish. So you maintain a safe distance from your own emotional depth. But it is precisely this avoidance that keeps the wound active and bleeding. The fifth reason you remain stuck is that your inner child learned that showing true pain means being rejected. So she created a mask, a persona that hides the real wound. And you became so accustomed to this mask that you forgot there's a true child behind it. You may have created the mask of the strong one, the person who never needs anything, who solves everything alone. Or the mask of the nice one, who always takes care of others to avoid the risk of being abandoned. Or the mask of the rebel, who hurts before being hurt. Each mask is a brilliant survival strategy, but one that now prevents you from being truly seen and loved. The sixth reason is that you don't understand the difference between re-experiencing trauma and integrating it. When you connect with the wounded child, you don't need to relive all the pain. You need to be present with her as the conscious adult you've become, offering her the perspective, protection, and wisdom that didn't exist at the original moment of the wound. The seventh and deepest reason is that healing the inner child requires you to forgive yourself for having had to adapt in painful ways to survive. You carry guilt and shame for the strategies you developed, for the patterns you repeated, for the times you sabotaged yourself. But this child did the best she could with the resources she had. She is not to blame for having learned to protect herself. She is a survivor. Jung knew that individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, requires integrating all rejected parts of the self. And the wounded child is the most rejected part of all, because carrying this pain means admitting that you were once vulnerable, once small, once needed care and didn't receive it. But it is precisely this vulnerability that contains your greatest strength. When you embrace the wounded child, when you see her with compassion instead of shame, something miraculous happens. She stops controlling your life from the shadows and becomes a conscious ally in your healing journey. Now that you understand why you remained stuck, how do you begin the journey of liberation? The first wound to embrace is the helplessness your child felt. Get a journal and write her a letter, not as the adult who wants her to just heal already, but as someone who finally has time and space to listen to her. Ask her, what did you need most in that moment that you didn't receive? Let her respond through your automatic writing. Don't censor, don't correct, don't explain. Just listen. Perhaps she'll say she needed to be seen, or protected, or simply accepted exactly as she was without needing to change to be loved. Then ask, what promises did you make to yourself in that moment so you'd never feel that way again? Here you will discover the unconscious vows that govern your life. I'll never trust anyone again. I'll never show who I really am again. I'll never need anyone again. These vows were necessary for survival, but now they need to be consciously reformulated. The most transformative practice is active dialogue with the inner child. Set aside a sacred moment each week to sit in silence and ask, how are you feeling? What do you need from me today? Not as a fantasy, but as a real conversation with a real part of you that has specific wisdom and needs. Establish healthy boundaries in your adult life as a way to show your inner child that you are now capable of protecting her. Say no to situations that make her feel invisible or devalued. Choose people who honor your sensitivity instead of ridiculing it. Create spaces for beauty and play in your routine, nurturing the creative part that was repressed along with the pain. Practice brutal honesty with yourself about the patterns you still carry. When you notice you're reacting disproportionately to a situation, pause and ask, how old am I right now in this reaction? Often you'll discover you're responding like a 6-year-old trying to protect herself from a danger that no longer exists. You are now the guardian of your own inner child. You are no longer that helpless child navigating a dangerous world without resources. You are the conscious adult she always needed to appear to protect her, validate her, and show her that it's safe to be vulnerable again. You cannot change what happened to your inner child, but you can change what happens to her from now on. Each time you honor her instead of rejecting her, each time you act from your adult wisdom instead of your childhood fears, you are healing not only the past, but creating a future where all aspects of yourself can coexist in harmony. The journey is just beginning. Your inner child has waited a lifetime for this moment when you finally have the courage to see her, to hear her, to integrate her into the totality of who you are. And when this integration happens, you don't lose your adult strength. You gain access to the full strength of your unified self. You become whole. Comment which of these 7 reasons resonated most with your experience. Like if you felt the courage to look at your inner child with new eyes. Subscribe to continue this journey back to your true and complete self. Integrate.